Okay, welcome back to the Construction Mentor Podcast. What are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about tuition to starting salary ratios as it relates to college football. October is the best month of the year. Part of the reason for that is because this is when the college football season heats up. This is when you tend to get the most top 25 matchups. You usually start looking at some big matchups in the SEC, the Big 10, even the Big 12 and the Pac 12. We'll pretend like those are real football conferences for a second. They're really not. But my intent here is I want to walk people through, young people through, especially high school kids that are looking at going to college. I want them to understand that looking at a school is not just about the football team. Okay. The people on the football team that are trying to stack up wins and going for national titles, that's only like 90 or 100 people in the school. There are tens of thousands of kids in the stands that have made an investment that they're paying to go to that school for, that they need to get a return on that investment. So I know when I was looking at schools and even coming out of school, even as recently as a few years ago, I always said, oh man, I wish I went to some big SEC school or ACC school or Big Ten school so that I had a football team that I cared about, that was part of my pride and part of my, persona on Saturdays. Now, not so much. When you look at some of these numbers and the debt that people are in, I'm not in any debt. I have a lot of friends and know a lot of people that went to these schools, and they're going to be paying well into their 50s because they're on 30-year notes. Okay. So, again, go back, listen to episode 4. We walk through our student loan and budget calculator, which is on constructionmentor.org. And it's a very valuable tool. If you're looking at college, you should absolutely download it. And if you need me to walk you through it, set up a mentoring session, set up a coaching call, or just email me, and I'm happy to do that for you. Maybe I'll do another episode where I walk through it and share a screen in a little more depth. Maybe I'll do a webinar, something. I don't know. But again, when you're looking at these schools, it's not just about the football program. You have to get a return on investment. So what we do is we look at the average starting salary, we look at the tuition, and we look at what that's going to cost you per month on a loan thereafter. Okay. So we want to set you up for success. We want you to have an affluent life. And we don't want you drowning in debt. Now, when you look at most of these schools, you're going to see some common themes. You're going to see that biology, psychology, those majors sound good and they sound like something that your parents can brag about that you're going to school for. But the reality is they don't have a good return on investment. The average starting salary for somebody with a biology degree or a psychology degree is less than $30,000 a year nationally. Okay. The highest salaries that you're going to find are all related to construction. They are usually in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, construction management. These are majors that pay. If you're going to pay to go to school, you better get paid afterwards. All right. So let's look at the first matchup. We're going to the Big 12. We're going to the Red River rivalry, Texas versus Oklahoma. Now, for years, I was a Texas guy. Of late, Boomer Sooner, horns down. And I think you're going to see that in this matchup here play out in my favor. Right. So the top 3 majors at OU are business management, nursing, and psychology. We always like to see nursing. Right around $60,000, $65,000 a year is what you see usually coming out. Business management, psychology, not so much. When you look at those top 3 majors, the average tuition to starting salary ratio is about a 3.7. Okay, so that's total tuition divided by starting salary equals a 3.7. Now, I would not consider going if the ratio was higher than a 3, right? Now, you could go to OU for an electrical engineering degree that'll have a ratio of 2.3. That is a great investment. So if you're going to go to OU, I suggest you go for electrical engineering. But most people go for those other majors that I just mentioned. Now, that total ticket is going to be 145 grand. And on a 6.5% interest rate over 30 years, you're going to be paying $924 a month. That means 52 years old, you're going to be paying $924 a month. Now, we flip it over. We go to Texas. Down in Austin, kids are taking biology. Again, low salary. Computer science, which they have a great starting salary for, or psychology. We already talked about that. Now, the average ratio between those 3 are a 7.3. That's really high on the average, I would not consider going to the University of Texas, period. However, if you go for electrical engineering, that is a starting salary of $76,300. That is a ratio of 3.5. Not terrible, right? Not terrible. Oklahoma's ratio is better. So if you do go to Texas, I would highly suggest you go for electrical engineering. Now, that overall ticket is going to cost you $268,000 to go there on an out-of-state tuition with all of your housing and yada yada. I'm sure everyone can chirp me about that, but we have to compare apples to apples here. So that will cost you $1,700 a month on a 6.5% interest rate, 30-year note. You'll be paying that into your 50s. So when I look at this, and we say take football out of it, we're not looking at football. We're talking about the kids in the stands. The better investment between these two schools is very clearly Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner, horns down, Oklahoma all the way. They have a much better ratio on the non-construction related majors, and even on their electrical engineering, although it's a lower salary, it is a much better ratio. It is a 2.3 compared to a 3.5 at Texas. The better investment is University of Oklahoma. So Texas, if you win because you're favored, I hope that makes you feel good, because you're going to be swimming in debt for a lot longer than the University of Oklahoma kids are. Now, let's go over to a real conference. Let's go over to the SEC. We're going to take a look at the University of Georgia, who honestly, their schedule is kind of a joke this year, right? But at least it's a top 25 matchup this week. So let's look at it. Now, University of Georgia students, top 3 majors: biology, finance, and psychology. Again, you're always going to see biology and psychology show up. I don't understand why. Guys, go to school if you really want to go to school for that, but expect to be swimming in debt and expect to be poor. Okay. Average ratio of those majors is a 6.3. We're looking at a overall tuition at the University of Georgia of almost $200,000, $194,000. And again, that's out-of-state tuition, full burden. We have to compare apples to apples. Now, you can go for an agricultural engineering degree and make about $59,600, which is a good salary. Georgia just doesn't have construction-related majors there. At least they're not listed, not what I could find. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, different story, but they're not in this game. So overall, on a 30-year note, 6.5% rate, that's going to cost you $1,041 a month for a student loan payment. So not great numbers there, guys. Now we go over to the University of Kentucky, they are underdogs, 15 points, so over 2 touchdowns. Their top 3 majors are communications, marketing, and business. Blah, blah, blah. Means a whole lot of nothing. I mean, all those majors make between $35,000 and $55,000 coming out. So the ratio is a little bit better. They have an average ratio of a 5.8. Tuition's a little bit more, actually. It's about $228,000. Now, what's even better about this is that Kentucky actually has construction-related majors. So electrical engineering at Kentucky, you're looking at a starting salary of about $65,800. Unfortunately, you're going to be paying $1,451 a month for your student loan thereafter. Now, overall, between these two schools, based on these numbers, you would go with the University of Georgia. You'd go Bulldogs all day, going for the 3rd national title, getting a better tuition to starting salary ratio. However, when you take in consideration, the state, in-state tuition, things of that nature, Kentucky, the University of Kentucky, by far and away has more higher-paying majors, especially majors that are related to construction, than the University of Georgia. So, again, although University of Georgia is heavily favored, I'm not going with the Bulldogs. I'm going to go Wildcats all day. Big Blue. That is the better investment that I can see. Georgia might be dominating the SEC the last couple of years, but the University of Kentucky, those kids are not only going to have a better basketball season, but they are going to have a better bank account after graduation. So, guys, that's it. I only have 2 games. If you guys like this content, if you guys like the format of this, the pace of it, and you find this useful, jump down in the comments section, subscribe, like, share. I want to get this going. I want people to understand that education is good. College is good, but you have to go for the right things. You have to have that solid ROI, that return on investment to justify going. Otherwise, there's other ways to get educated that don't cost money. There's ways to get educated where you can make money while you do it that have even higher starting salaries than anything that I just mentioned here. So I went to college. I have a master's degree. I got a great return on it. I have no student debt now. And that's the same situation that I want everybody to be in if they go to college. So again, go to constructionmentor.org. That's constructionmentor.org. Download the student loan and budget calculator. Find out what the return on investment is for your education. And if you need help walking through it, or if you need some counseling or you need some coaching or you just want somebody to hear you, email me, schedule a call. You can do it all through the website. I'm happy to be here for you. I want to see you succeed more than anything else. And that's all I got. I'll see you next time, guys.